You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome back to Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. My name is Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as, of course, from the aforementioned network. If we sound a little bit different, it's because we're not coming to you from our studio in downtown Chicago. Nope, we're on the road again, this time coming to you from scenic and sunny Amelia Island, Florida, here for the annual Options Industry Conference. We love this event. It's a great chance for us to really catch up with everybody in the business, exchanges, brokers, vendors, you name them. They're going to cycle through our studio here over the next few days. So stay tuned to the network. It should be fun. And kicking it all off is an old friend of the network, even though he hasn't been on in a little while. It's good to catch up with him. He is JJ Kinahan, the Chief Market Strategist and Managing Director over there at TD Ameritrade. JJ, welcome back to the show.
Always great to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me on. We have to travel a long way to see each other, it seems. We see each other once in Chicago and then around the country the rest of the time.
I was just joking with someone on the way in here to the conference that everyone travels across the country to meet with people that they could see down the street. But I guess that's the nature of the conference, right? It forces people to come together. Otherwise, you're busy, you're doing other stuff, and you don't have a chance to. We'll have to rotate you in the studio more often. There, I know you're busy cranking out your own content. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first, let's kick things off. It's been a little while since you've been on with us, so let's catch our listeners up here. Obviously, the last time you were on the studio back last summer, but the last time you were on at the conference here about a year ago, the big talk was, of course, the merger, the acquisition with Scottrade. Catch us up on that. How is that integration? How is that progress unfolding?
Well, thanks, Mark. We're really happy with how things have gone. The Scottrade clients are now fully on the TD Ameritrade systems, and we've been able to keep a lot of the branches where the Scottrade clients were used to doing things. We're up to 364 branches now of TD Ameritrade, and so it's really it's a great combination. Their customer service, I think, was widely recognized as one of the best, and it really added an element to what we do already. So we're really excited. We picked up some great people as well as great clients along the way. We went over $1 trillion in assets and over 11 million clients. So it's a really exciting time for us.
Yeah, one of the interesting things I always thought about Scottrade and indeed about the merger was it made sense, I think, certainly from an options perspective, because you guys obviously had a lot of options wherewithal over there at TD. Scottrade had flirted with it a few times, but they never really went down the rabbit hole of embracing options. So it seems like you guys were onboarding really a large number of accounts that were pretty fertile from an options perspective. They were ready to be brought over to the dark side, if you will. So how's that process unfolding? Have you guys been doing a lot of outreach to the Scottrade clientele to try to bring them over and say, hey, here's what a call is, here's what a put is, and have you found them to be receptive?
As you know, Mark, we spend a lot of time on education anyways, and so this is an opportunity for people who maybe didn't have the type of education at Scottrade that we've been able to offer over the years at TD. So, people who may listen to your show and be like, okay, listening to what he says, this makes sense, but I want to dive deeper into it or understand even at a more basic level than perhaps, as you're talking to someone. So we allow them to do that. And most importantly, we allow them to do that on our platform. So they learn how to do options in a way that makes it easy for them to trade once they get ready. And, of course, we have our paper money platform, which we think is a really important playground, if you will, for people. Go in there, screw around, get to learn how things will actually work with fake money. We're such nice people that if you lose all your fake money, we'll give you more. And but really, we find that teaching tool has been amazing. Our Invest Tools education end is now under all the instructors are licensed under TD Ameritrade education overall. So we continue to do things to help clients from the most basic person who's never even traded a stock to the most advanced person who wants to trade straddle strangle swaps. So we have education all the way in between for everybody.
You mentioned kind of that paper trading, that virtual trading, which is a great entry point for a lot of people. But as we were kind of talking before the show started, it's been interesting to watch the evolution of the options brokerage space, and there is a whole large clientele out there that are really kind of dipping their toes into the options waters for the first time. I was looking at our rankings from our big options broker battle that we do every March Madness, and there was a lot of new entrants in that space who did really well with our audience. So people are coming from different areas and different avenues now, and people, as we see, different firms are taking different approaches to the space. And one of the ones we see kind of consistently, and you kind of just referred to it, is that push to try to bring people, maybe like a lot of the Scottrade equity clientele, who've never really traditionally dipped their toes in those options waters. But as you know, they're maybe a little bit intimidated by iron condors and these things that we kind of throw around, delta, gamma, theta, all these things that we throw around like they literally are Greek. They're easy to us, but they are Greek to a lot of the people out there. So we're seeing a big push to try to really make that ingress a little bit easier for people coming in from the outside. Is this a big initiative over there? It sounds like it is at TD. And in addition then to the virtual currency, kind of what else are you guys doing?
Absolutely. And one of the things we've done too is make videos that are much shorter. The YouTubing of the world, so to speak. So, it used to be you could make a 10-minute video. Now you have to get a lot of information in a minute and a half video. And so we continue, as we've always done, with live classes around the country. We continue with webinars every single day. We have tons of content going every day. We started the TD Ameritrade Network, which is, we look at it as a great supplement to what's already going on out there. You have shows like yours. You have shows like Video, CNBC, et cetera. One of the things we tell people is it's great. Get information from there, but you can come to us then for, how to actually put these ideas into practice. And we can give some more, perhaps, ideas on how to think about things. And again, using our platform. So you make it easy for people to enact a lot of the things they're learning. So we just, our goal is, we're of course, we want you to learn with us, but we don't care where you're getting your education because, as you know, Mark, for most people, it's some combination of different media outlets or different educational outlets like yours. They might listen to you. They might watch CNBC. They might watch a little bit of us, some other sources that are out there, and they're taking something away from each of them. And it's awesome. We want to supplement all the stuff going on there and make it as easy as possible. We'll get the nuns to ones, if you will. Those people who've never made an options trade, just try one options trade. And one of the big things we talk about is, and I know you talk about it on your show, you don't have to be big. Start really, really small. As we both know, one of the easiest things in the world to do is to become a bigger trader. One of the hardest things in the world to do is to start too big and lose a lot of money at the beginning, because if we're going to be honest with people, just like anything else at the very beginning, you might not be that good at it. It might take you a little bit of time. And on paper money, I'm one of the 5 best traders in the world because I never sweat. In real money, I lose $20. I hate everyone I ever met. So, again, there's a lot of lessons there.
Yeah, you're not sweating expiration as much when it's $1 million virtual dollars, are you?
Right.
When it's 100
as compared
real.
to 20 real ones,
yeah.
perhaps.
But you mentioned kind of since the last time we really sat down to the conference, you guys have made a big pivot into our world, into the content world. First off, welcome. Secondly, my condolences. It's not an easy job. I could speak from experience. I know how hard it is to produce a large amount of options content. So walk us through that. What was the impetus behind TD really kind of diving into the content world, and how's that initiative been unfolding over the past? It's been about a year now, right?
Yeah, we started last July, and, we've always produced a lot of content every single day. And the thing is, it was just at all different spots. So we're like, why are we producing all this content for others? We have a lot of people who are really good at it. Let's put it under one roof. We can still do it and use it for others, but we should have it more organized. And as we looked at our clients who view other places of media, we're like, we think we can do a nice job of really tailoring this content to the TD Ameritrade experience. And so that's really our primary goal when we started out. It's gone incredibly well. Our growth has been just amazing month over month. We continue to see growth. We're still, as you just said, and you know how it was that first year. You're learning a lot of things, and it's one thing to watch others do it. It's a whole different ballgame when you have to produce all this content every single day. We're up to 9 hours of programming, 7 of it live every single day. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's people getting there, 4 a.m. every day, and other people are there till 6 p.m. every night, just making sure everything's smooth. And when you have a video operation as well as online, that means more bodies, camera people, line support people, et cetera. I've learned a lot just about all the people. It's given me new respect for every TV show, every content producer, et cetera, because you learn that there is so much, the folks who listen to you every day don't realize the 3 hours of things you did before so that you can prepare for show after show after show. It doesn't happen by itself, and I don't think people have a true appreciation for how much that takes.
Yeah, it's a lot of people over the years have told me they're going to get into this business, and very few of them actually do or persist over the long term because they realize, making content on a regular basis it's not easy. It doesn't just materialize. It actually takes a little bit of prep work. How much are you doing on the network on a regular basis?
I do 2 hits a day. I do one around the opening bell and around the closing bell, and then I do a show that once a week we show it, and right now we're showing it midday every day. But it's with some of the people in the industry who are really difference makers, if you will. We've had Bill Brodsky. We've had Anita Friedman. We've had Chris Kincannon. So we're hopefully going to get Stacey Cunningham pretty soon. So it's, the CEOs, the CIOs, the people at the exchanges who are making a difference. Just a really interesting one. You'll remember the name Paul Pierce. He used to play with the Boston Celtics, South Side of Chicago kid. He went through $120 million in 5 years and went bankrupt. He was an interesting story, incredibly honest about what happened to him and some of the bad decisions he made.
Hopefully it wasn't all options related.
No, none of it was
cost of his fortune.
None of it was options related, but what Paul has done, which is really impressive, is he started a financial literacy for athletes. As he said, my first year, I was 19 years old, I made almost $2 million. I didn't realize I had to pay taxes. It was a foreign concept to me. And so, you hear stories like this, it's actually heart-wrenching. So it's really, people who are doing a lot with financial literacy we'll talk to also because, as you know, that's a big gap. Even as you talk about options, the step below that, there's a lot of people who don't even understand that. So our show is more than just about, it's awesome that we get great options folks, great futures folks, but we also want to make sure that people understand financial literacy and all the things that go into helping them make good decisions, hopefully, in their day-to-day life.
So you're actually getting into the interview realm, too, not just doing kind of the trading and analytics.
That's
a separate skill set entirely.
It's been really interesting and fun, and like I said, I have new respect for you. It takes a lot of preparation to do this stuff.
It's fun. You can always prep a lot of great things for a great interview, and we'll discover this again over the next 3 days as we're doing like 100 of these. You can prep a bunch of things, but the real skill I've noticed comes in, when you veer off the rails a little bit and people start saying interesting things, and you follow that to whatever it's logical or sometimes illogical. That sometimes is more fun. It depends on the show. So it definitely is another skill set. So again, my condolences on having to join the party. Now, I know you guys used to have a big ecosystem over there of the chat rooms and some other content. Is that all? Are the chat rooms still up? Is it all still part of this content? Has it all kind of been rejiggered a bit since?
No,
the
thank
network?
you. We still have the chat rooms. Working overall because people want to talk to like-minded people, as you know, very, very much, and they want to interact. I think Twitter's actually changed a little bit of that over the last couple of years because it seems like a lot.
Chat room.
It really is a giant chat room, and if I'm not going to make a comment on the stock because obviously the stock's had some issues, but in terms of the product itself, I find when you follow smart people like Options Insider, you get great conversations. And you really learn a lot. And I think for those who are like, I don't want the social media, I've really encouraged a lot of my friends who, might be at my age or older to go on there and follow some smart people because I think it's one of the greatest educational resources you can possibly get.
It is fascinating. It does seem to be more so than even a Facebook or others. Twitter is really kind of uniquely suited to this space and this business. The short used to be 140 characters. Now it's, 280? But that short kind of brevity is really unique, really well suited to talking. Here's a quick alert. Here's a link about a stock. Here's why I think it's going up. Here's what's going on in XYZ option. It does seem really well suited to finance, whereas other, let's say, longer form platforms like a Facebook or others, which are more, or Instagram for sharing photos of your kids, they're not really conducive for here's a chart on XYZ, But Twitter definitely seems, and like maybe some subsidiaries like StockTwits and others, definitely seem to be especially well suited to this medium versus others. And you're right, we do a lot of that. We used to maintain a lot of our own, commentary and forums and things, and over the last few years we realized we have no need for that. Twitter has kind of really replaced a lot of that, so we took a lot of that out.
I mean, you did a lot of your March challenge right on Twitter.
Yeah,
I saw a
pretty
lot
much.
of it, on
that's
there
where
every day.
One of the main part of the polls lives. We do it across all the platforms. I always joke that people can send it in by carrier pigeon if they want, and it'll get counted. But yeah, the main kind of body of it lives on Twitter because that's just where we see so much engagement on that platform versus others, which is kind of it. We have larger audiences on some other platforms, and yet for whatever reason, the engagement on Twitter is just off the charts. So I'm glad to hear that the content thing is going well. Is that all primarily out of the studio in Chicago, or do you
well,
do it
we
other
also
places
have
too?
we have a studio in Jersey City. We have a studio in Draper, Utah, because we have some education folks out there. Jersey City, we have a lot of TD Ameritrade employees there. We just built a brand new, just phenomenal facility in South Lake, Texas. And so we have, I believe it's 2,200 people, but don't quote me on the exact amount down there. I just saw the office last week. It's amazing. So we'll have a studio there. We'll have one in Omaha. So all the main TD Ameritrade locations will have them. And then the folks at the NASDAQ and the folks at the CBOE and at the CME have been very nice to us, and they let us have access to their cameras. And so we've been able to get a lot of great guests from outside to come in and talk. Actually, one of our pride and joys was that we took over the NASDAQ one day last week, and they were great to us. And Wags from Billions came on. He was the greatest guy. A lot of fun stories. Hung out for half hour, took pictures, and stuff like that is really, really, as you know, you have to make it entertaining as well as educational, and he did a great job of doing that.
It's fascinating to me because I know you guys have been doing this outside of the content, just the community aspect, something you guys have done for a long time with the swim lessons and everything else. I know we used to beam that show in ages ago to just engaging. You had a very active and engaged community in there. And I've kind of been surprised. It seems like some of the newer, savvier brokers have glommed onto that idea that community is valuable because, hey, guess what? People hanging around your ecosystem being logged in and talking about trading, guess what? They tend to trade when they do that. Right. And I'm amazed that not every broker has really has gravitated to it. We'll still talk to some brokers and we'll say, hey, what do you do in terms of community and things? And a lot of them, it's still, there's a little bit of social media here or there kind of thing, but they don't have, the online community on their site, or they're not fostering anything like that, which clearly you guys have realized is a huge driver for business. So I guess congrats on being ahead of that curve, and I guess we're still waiting for the rest of the business to catch up, JJ.
Well, I'm fine if they don't. They don't have to feel that need. And what we've also done is you don't have to just be on our platform. You can go to tdameritradenetwork.com. You can get it there. Any of our mobile devices, actually.
So you don't have to be logged into TD.
You don't have to be logged in to get the content, and so we think it's important that people, use the content wherever they are, because our feeling is if you like our content, you'll probably eventually be our client. And our mobile devices, we see really great interaction from that as people are going to work or coming home from work and they want to catch a segment or they want to catch the archive of something that was done earlier. That's really been a nice area of growth for us on the network so far.
It's funny. I started having that argument 11 years ago when we started doing this network. I'd have that argument with just about every compliance officer you can imagine, saying, you should, when the content you do with us, it should all be pre-login. Everyone should be able to get this. And for a long time, it was just a de facto stance. No, we have to have it behind the paywall, blah, 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 for all these different compliance reasons. But slowly but surely, it seems like firms are starting to realize that, putting the content out there where people can actually get it is a good thing.
And one thing I would like to add on that, if you don't mind, is hats off to our compliance team because they found a way to get us to yes. And it's a tough job, and as you know,
it's not their job. Their job is no.
For many firms, their job is no, and for many firms, it's just like no, that's it. And our compliance team, to their credit, now it's not always the smoothest process in terms of we have to go through some steps that obviously we wouldn't if we were just a network, et cetera. But they've been able to get us to yes, and that really is a great compliment to how well they understand our business,
especially in 2018, where the regulatory environment is, shall we say, more challenging than it's ever been to find a compliance firm. You're right. We've been doing content for a long time, and sometimes we'll still get approached by a new firm, and they'll say, no, our compliance person has to sign off on every one of these, and we'll have to go through that same song and dance that we were doing 10, 11 years ago, saying, here's the content, here's what we do, here's how you could disclaim it. So it's impressive that you guys could get away with that. So well done. You could, quality compliance all around. I know
smart people.
I know another thing you've been doing over there, at least when we were on last time, that was a big push for you to trying to simplify the options messaging, was your book. How's the book going? How's the outreach on that front going?
Thank you very much. It's called Essential Options Strategies, and when I wrote it I think a lot of people, you referenced it earlier in the show, a lot of people try to make options trading sound hard or they're smarter than everyone or something, and I'm just not a big believer in that. I think that we all benefit if people find it to be easy. And so I just tried to explain things in very simple concepts. Things like selling a covered call is very similar to a limit order that you get paid for, but you're making a true commitment to. And, so that, again, it's concepts people already know and getting them started along the way. Because, as you know, once people start trading covered calls or a cash covered put, their curiosity is naturally piqued, and they've also had some experience doing it. So getting them to the vertical spreads then isn't that huge a leap. And really, again, I think just simplifying has been a big goal. It was a big goal of the book. It's a big goal for us as a firm as we look at how we're working on our platforms, looking at some of the things we're adding to our mobile. So we just want to make it an easier experience. For so many years, as you know, it was, you're not smart enough to do this, and we're not really big fans of that. We're like, people are smart. They want to be challenged a little bit, so you do so, but don't challenge them in a way that intimidates them.
Well, JJ, we covered a lot of ground here. We talked content, we talked the book, we talked outreach, compliance, the merger, all sorts of other things. But let's leave our listeners with a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a tease of what they can expect from you guys coming down the pike. Maybe some new upgrades, some features coming to the options platform they can look forward to. Whatever you want to leave them with, now's the time.
I will say that look for our mobile devices to really add some incredible stuff that you're used to on the platform that many thought you couldn't do with mobile. And I'm really excited. The team's done an amazing job. And so I think that a lot of things that clients have asked us for around analytics, et cetera, will be on the mobile devices soon. And people will be amazed at how easy they are to use.
It is amazing just how far the industry's come on that space to be able to do charting and analysis and execute multi-leg spreads and things on a screen 4 or 5 inches. If you had said that a few years ago, people would have thought you were crazy. And now, a significant portion of the business goes up that way. So I'm looking forward to that myself and seeing what you guys have. So JJ, we'll look forward to seeing how the content and everything else and the upgrades to the mobile unfolds in the marketplace in the coming months.
Well, always a pleasure to be on Options Insider, Mark. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.